Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by J.P. Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, J.P. Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com. And by Luba Workers Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com.
From Tsunami Sushi in downtown Lafayette, we're out to lunch with Christian Mader, editor and publisher of The Current. It's business, Acadiana style.
Welcome to Out to Lunch. I'm Christian Mader. It was once conventional wisdom in business that bigger is better. Economies of scale weren't just preferable, they were inevitable, like a law of nature. While big box stores and corporate franchises do have advantages in cost and efficiency, small businesses are proving they can thrive by leaning into their niches. Take Le-Grenadier, a cocktail lounge in downtown Lafayette, where quality and atmosphere reign supreme. Owner Mia Stanford doesn't just serve drinks, she creates experiences, crafting cocktails with premium ingredients, fresh squeezed juices, and handmade bitters. A St. Landry Parish native with a background in hotel and restaurant management, Mia spent years in the spirits industry before opening her own bar. And she envisioned a cozy, intimate space where patrons savor their drinks, not just consume them. Open only 4 nights a week, serving around 300 guests weekly, Le-Grenadier is a far cry from the high-volume bar churning out quick mixed drinks. Instead, Mia crafts vibes, sometimes even locking the door when the space reaches the perfect crowd. And her approach aligns with broader industry trends. The U.S. craft spirits market was valued at over $14 billion in recent years and continues to grow as consumers seek more artisanal and high-quality drinking experiences. Mia Stanford, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So a cocktail may be a cure for what ails your spirit. For other maladies, you might need a prescription. And despite the rise of big drug stores, there's still a lot to be gained from getting your meds at a neighborhood pharmacy like Swallow's Pharmacy in New Iberia. Neighborhood pharmacies buck the high-volume model and instead rely on customer satisfaction and loyalty. And Tala Bowie and her husband, Hai, bought Swallows in New Iberia in 2024 and carry on its tradition of intent customer service. A pharmacist by trade, Tala had worked in large retail chains like Walmart before stepping into ownership. And unlike the big-name pharmacies that process thousands of prescriptions daily with little patient interaction, Swallows prides itself on being a true community pharmacy. Independent pharmacies like Swallows account for 30% of the overall retail pharmacy market, but their overall prescription sales market share is closer to about 15% compared to giants like CVS and Walgreens, which dominate the industry. CVS alone controls about 25% of the U.S. market. Neighborhood pharmacies, nevertheless, remain vital, and they are offering patient-centered care that stands out in the healthcare industry writ large. Tala Bowie, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
So, Mia, you started as kind of like a speakeasy concept, right? Like, you know, and for people who may not be familiar, like the idea is that you're almost not supposed to know it exists unless you're sort of in the club, right? So even to the point where I think you had to know the password to get in, right? But you kind of went away from that concept. So why did you get rid of the password?
It wasn't necessary. I wasn't sure of the Jefferson Street vibe, and I think that we're kind of going through a renaissance period at this point where if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that at our price point, kids stay out naturally. I'm looking for a 25-plus crowd, and the Lafayette market doesn't really understand the speakeasy concept, so, it wasn't truly fitting the business model.
Sure.
They're thinking private clubs, and it was a little too exclusive.
Sure.
So, I think everything about coming into a market after living in a major metro for so many years is really kind of honing in on what the market needs are, what the flavor profiles are. They're so different from, one city to another from a cultural aspect. So, we're just kind of getting away from that scene and really focusing on our events, burlesque shows, Sinatra nights, craft cocktails for beginners, intermediate and advanced, where Once you graduate that class, then you stage for the night and invite your friends and create your own menu.
Wow.
So it's really about the experience of Le-Grenadier that we're after.
So I want to come back to that in a second, the idea of a stage night for customers. But Tala, you guys bought a pharmacy, right? And you're kind of keeping its community base. But the thing I'm thinking about, what the life cycle for this, for a lot of neighborhood pharmacies, is probably typically like, I'm ready to get out, I want to sell, and they would sell, right, to a larger pharmaceutical company or whatever. I mean, does that mean when you guys were trying to get into it, was that ever on the table for the seller? Like, were they also looking at, well, do I sell to CVS or Walgreens or something like that?
Oh, yeah. So for a lot of independents, an easy sale is to sell to like a CVS or Walgreens, because what they do is they buy your script count, they close you down, and they just take your customers and your scripts. We've been lucky with this pharmacy and with some other ones is that the owner wants specifically to sell it to somebody who will continue it. So in that case, they were seeking out, because you can easily sell to a CVS or Walgreens.
Yeah.
They don't even have to come knocking. Like, they just want whatever you have. But a lot of owners like to kind of seek out somebody who specifically wants to keep it there. They all have like a very good customer base, and they get very attached to their customers, and they want to keep that community for them. Like, they want to keep that care for them, and that, just like that. I really want to say vibe, but it is. It's just like it's its own little center. I mean, our customers love to come and sit, and they've been doing that since 1979.
Yeah.
And then, we just recently bought another one, and that one has been around since 1909.
Wow.
So the same people have been going there for generations, and it's great to have that. Like, that's such a fixture of the community. You want to be able to keep that around.
Do you have to, like, spend time? I mean, you talk about vibe, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that I think would be the thing that most local retailers and small town retailers would say that they have, right? So, I mean, do you have to spend, like, I don't mean to just do this whole contrast about CVS. We'll stop talking about CVS. Don't worry about them. But I mean, the idea being that, like, because, say, Swallows or this new pharmacy that you bought had that kind of relationship with its customers, I mean, did you have to kind of learn their vibe? I mean, you can't just take your vibe and stick it in there, right?
Oh, 100%. You have to learn what that customer wants, what they're looking for. Each store obviously has its own specific customer. Like the ones at Swallows, they want to come, they want to sit, they want to chat. So for us, we kind of figured out what is important for our customers. Do they want a little coffee bar they can sit at? Do we want to remove the seating? No, we don't. We want to keep these things there. They love our gift shop. So we couldn't, like, remove even a quarter of that space to do something else with, because they want to be there. They want us to fill it up and use that kind of stuff. So you kind of have to figure out and earn that trust of the customer to keep them.
Yeah, I mean, Mia, it feels like you've been spending some time thinking about the vibe maybe from a different way. Like, you had a vision for the vibe that you wanted. You open up a thing, people are into it or they're not. I mean, like, talk to me about sort of the creative process of sort of blending your own vision of, we're saying vibe an unprecedented amount on this show. I mean, but I like it. I mean, I feel like that's a thing that a lot of businesses have commonality, right? Their way they relate to a brand of any kind is frankly vibe. So you probably had to think about that. I mean, how quickly were you sort of realizing, well, the vibe I'm trying to bring is not exactly what a Jefferson Street customer wants right now?
I want to circle back to her gift shops.
Yeah.
I think that's such a centrally located South Louisiana gem. Like, growing up in Eunice, when we would go shopping for presents, we would go to the local pharmacy because they always had, like, the most exquisite,
like specialty things.
And they're always
It's
wrapped
definitely a southern
perfectly in
thing.
a very southern, beautiful tradition. So I love seeing that stay alive. But going back to the vibe, I was instantly put into a box by the media of, this is a 25-plus bar, and it happened very organically, and people were excited about it. But more or less what was happening was that women feel safe at my place.
Yeah.
And so over time, it's really turned into a spot where girls' nights and, date nights, but we walk our guests to their vehicles if it's rowdy out there, safety first. And I think that there is a misconception about Jefferson Street on the weekends that it's super dangerous. So we're trying to minimize that by making the vibe about safety and professional safety, and making sure our guests feel safe within our facility and on the streets as well. And that's another reason, like if we hit 36 people and our max capacity is 49, and I'm just loving the vibe, but I check outside and there's a bunch of kids wrestling around or doing whatever, I lock the doors because that's how I contain that crowd. I never want you to show up and be like, oh, I had the best time until some drunkard wandered in starting fights. And I think that that's something that's happened on Jefferson Street for a long time. And that's why the DDA has worked so hard to minimize bars down here. So the more that I promote, like a certain standard of hospitality, I think that we'll see other businesses following suit, and we'll get a better crowd downtown, a better vibe on the weekends, and maybe less of the 19-year-olds drunk on the sidewalk.
Right, sure. I mean, I would have to think that price point plays a factor in that.
Very
right?
much so.
Like you mentioned,
Very
the
much
idea of
so.
sort of like beginner cocktails.
Right.
I like cocktails, but I'm known, to the extent people are known for these things, for like I go to a bar and I just order a Manhattan. I don't
Right.
necessarily sit and go through a big menu, but I mean, cocktail culture can be a little intimidating.
It is.
And so there's sort of a weird balance of wanting to attract, say, a new audience to a culture that's really sophisticated and interesting versus that also being kind of a filter, right? Where people
Right.
are like, place is not for me. I really only like vodka tonics. I mean, do you kind of have to brand that somehow? How do you send that message without putting a sign that says, like, sorry, guys, we don't have Truly here? I mean, what do you do?
That's sometimes a difficult task.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I come from a background of spirit sales, and so I came from Southern Glaciers originally, and the amount of money that they put into education for menu design has proven like the most pivotal thing about like my edge. I think that a lot of cocktail bars overcomplicate their menus. Like, do you need to write like rhubarb extract? Like, what is that? What are you,
Sure.
like, just like, let's talk about it's a sweet, spirit forward cocktail served in a Manhattan glass, whatever, a coupe.
Yeah.
Like, let's dumb it down a little bit. Let's tell a story. And so Le-Grenadier is all about the story of a cocktail. So we have cocktails that are based on Napoleonic Wars or wars in general, and that's the story behind the drink, rather than and like, look, we do oleosacrums, we do all kinds of things that could really confuse a layman, but that's not what we lead with. So we've made the craft cocktails very approachable.
Sure.
And so when people come in and they ask for a Truly, or they're asking for a White Claw or something like that, what they're really asking for is a low ABV seltzer or sparkling. And so
You mean alcohol by volume, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So the way that I combat that is by saying all of our mixers, we don't have like De Kuyper or things with alcohol in them. The syrups that we purchase are from a French distillate, and so they're the truest form. And then the syrups that we make are obviously to their truest form. But we do non-alcoholic syrups for everything, and then we add a neutral spirit to it to create any sort of like mixer that we want. So I can make anything to a mocktail, which makes people very comfortable, and I can make anything into a seltzer, spritzer. It's 1 ounce of vodka, your whatever flavor you want, and soda water. And then they think it's like the bee's knees,
Yeah. You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Christian Mader. I'm talking with Mia Stanford, owner of Le-Grenadier, and Tala Bowie, co-owner of Swallows Pharmacy. Tala, I mean, you're a pharmacist, and you kind of buy a pharmacy, and part of what you inherit, right, is customer relationships. People can learn business development. That's one thing. But, like, I can't imagine you thought, I really want to do specialty gifts. I mean, like, the idea that there's a retail element of this, was that attractive to you as you were considering this? That, like, hey, we are going to sell things that are sort of beyond what I was trained for, I suppose.
Yeah, so actually, I love that part. It is my favorite part. I am a shopper by nature, a buyer by nature. So
Yeah.
I was so excited to be able to like customize a little shop and just be able to buy things that I find, unique or interesting, or I would want to see, because I grew up in Atlanta. I've traveled a lot. I've been all over, and there is just there's just a different concept, I think, or just a different like vision that I could bring. And we get a lot of those compliments. Like, a lot of our compliments are specifically like unique, never seen before. And I don't find it to be that unique, but it's because I'm used to it. And like I said, I'm a shopper. I'm forever online. I'm always looking at things. So, it's coming to help in that I'm constantly seeking new things because I'm able to put it in a store and make it special. And we have people drive from Lafayette to come to New Iberia to shop with us. So that makes me so happy. Like, I want to keep producing and finding different products that, are special, that nobody else has.
Give us an example of something that, like, you put in the store that folks are like, that's unique, I wouldn't have thought that was there.
Yeah, so we, years ago, I used to buy this, it's called Riddle Oil. It's a perfume, but it's pheromone oil. And I used to buy it at a little bar that I, like, it's like a workout bar, not a bar. A workout bar in Lafayette, and they closed down maybe like 6 years ago or so. But I had it, have been using it, love it, and for some reason nobody else in Lafayette sells it. So we sell it. Now we're the exclusive people, I think, in Acadiana that have it. So that is a lot of what drives my Lafayette customers, is they come in because they saw it in a newspaper ad or online that we sell the Riddle oils, like perfumes, and then they come in and they buy things. And we recently also started selling Hannah Gumbo art and supplies, and I just love her so much.
She's been on the show. She's
great.
Great.
Yeah, she's the best. So also, that's not very common in New Iberia. I don't think she might have somewhere else now, but when we started getting her supplies, nobody else had it. So it's also something unique that people weren't seeing there, and they didn't have to drive 45 minutes to Lafayette or buy online. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't want to buy online. Like, you would think that it is such a big driver, but I think for gifts and like last minute items, it is not. Like, you want to put your hands on it. You want to be able to look at it and maybe make a little gift basket in your mind, and you can't really do that online.
Well, there's something to be said for somebody sort of filtering all that stuff for you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can get choice paralysis. You're like, well, what do I do? What do I buy?
Yeah,
and you're
so
like,
true.
I gotta start. Well, the entire internet has everything. And so, like, where do I even start? So, I mean,
True.
Mia, I mean, you're talking a lot about trying to make cocktails approachable. You mentioned earlier, right, some of what y'all are doing is like actually some kind of like, it sounded almost like classes, like opportunities for people to come in and get to know it. I mean, I think that's pretty unique. I mean, tell me a little bit about how that works. Like, if I were, like, I have people who I love in my life, I take them out to dinner. I won't mention names, but, they don't know what cocktail they like, right? And they look at a cocktail menu and they're like, man, I didn't even know where to start. I mean, how do you approach that with somebody who just has no basis?
Flavor profile. What do you usually drink? Let's do this together.
Okay, I love this.
All
Let's
right.
do it. Yeah, what do I usually drink? I'm a Manhattan guy. I like a whiskey, boozy drink, I guess, which is...
Okay, so you like spirit forward.
Yeah.
You like something well balanced.
Yeah.
Do you like banana at all?
I like bananas. I don't love like that fake banana flavor that often comes from things. So I could be tricked into drinking something that tastes banana if it's not too if it doesn't taste like Runts. You remember Runts?
I remember Runts.
If it doesn't taste like
So
that.
we have a cocktail on our menu that is a rye-based cocktail.
Okay.
So the rye fits with your Manhattan.
Yeah.
With a banana oleosacrum. All an oleosacrum is banana peels that sit in brown sugar, and it's the truest form to the flavor of banana that you can get.
Okay.
And then we take a few bitters, just Angostura bitters, and dehydrated bananas on top, and then we light them on fire.
Oh, like a Bananas Foster sort of thing.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's the Banana Wars. That's what I would suggest for you.
Okay, that sounds really exciting. Sorry.
What do you typically drink?
I love a mojito, like something fresh. Yeah.
Okay, so you like fresh. Do you like... What about a mojito do you like? Is it the mint, or is it just like the...
Yeah, it's the mint. The mint
It's
and the
mint.
cucumber. Yeah.
Okay, so I would suggest the Ava Gardner for you. The Ava Gardner is a riff on an aviation. It has rose gin, lavender, Luxardo, and lemon. And it is so light and airy. It tastes like spring.
Oh, can't wait.
Do you like floral drinks like that? That sounds very floral.
Yeah, it does.
It's floral,
I
but
do.
it's balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the lemon is probably going to do it for me.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Sounds so good.
I love that. Wait, explain the Napoleonic connection. I mean, I'm sort of like, I think of, and I don't want to put you in the box that maybe you were put in before, right? People hear speakeasy, I think their natural thought is pre-prohibition
Right.
era. You're going to be doing a 1920s thing. We
It's
live
so
in the Great
played
Gatsby.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was the Napoleonic era known for cocktails, or
Not
do you just
at
like?
all.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a nerd.
Okay. So you were just like reading War and Peace and thought we should
Right,
make a
yeah.
cocktail.
I'm a nerd. Like, I did not
Yeah.
have a name. I felt so. I was in the Acadiana Small Business Program,
Yeah.
and I had like a community idea at first, and then going through the process that they gave me for the small business project, I was like, this building doesn't suit my needs. So when I found 522 Jefferson, I knew that like it was a perfect spot. I had to build it out and it fit the needs of my business, but I did not have like that community, because for the small business program it needed to be more of like a family friendly community type of situation. I didn't have a name, and like I don't know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I just want this place to be like millennial focused, like the bomb. And so Napoleonic Grenadier is a Napoleonic soldier who threw hand grenades during the Napoleonic Wars. So the bomb. And then it's just I'm really obsessed with history, and it's an easy I don't know, conversation starter. So I think it puts people at ease immediately of like, what does this mean? Like, oh, what happened during this time? You know, like I had a drink on our menu last year called Josephine's Revenge, and it was named after Napoleon's first wife, and she's from Martinique. And it was like a beautiful cocktail with Martinique rums and a pop rock rim. So it would scare people, but she grew up on a sugarcane plantation. So the sugar there, I didn't want to do a sugar rim. I wanted to do something funky. And that was like my way of kind of like bringing that sugar back forward without it being like a, you know, heavy sugar bomb,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just like little things like that of being able to tell the backstory of a name.
Yeah. You really had to do some research there
Yeah.
to go deep into that. I mean, I think
It really,
people-
it lives up here
that
rent
was
free.
more than just watching the movie that came out with like
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix in a few years ago. I mean, Tala, I mean, as you acquire a business, right? You've talked a bit about, kind of having to inherit and then inhabit the traditions of that business. I mean, does that mean do you have to think about like you're going to be Swallow's Pharmacy or forever? I mean, is your intent to kind of like maintain that sort of edifice of the brand? I mean, is at some point you retitle it so there's connection between your businesses? Have you thought about that?
People keep expecting us to change the name. Actually, I would say probably like 50% of my customers don't even know it's under new ownership because we kept the name. Like they assume that it has to change. But Swallows has been there since 1979. Like, why would I want to change that name? And the other pharmacy we bought is Northside Pharmacy, and that has been, like I said, since 1909. That has been there. So it's part of the community. It's part of the history there. It doesn't do anything for me personally to change a name. Like, people know something, they expect it to be a certain way, and all I can provide is the customer service and the experience for them. But to me, the title and the name doesn't define the business.
I mean, it sounds like
that
you're
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you don't feel the need to sort of own the brand of the
like
business.
I don't need
it's
it to
sufficient
say
to you to have the business itself.
That's right. Yeah. Like, I just want people to say, like, it's a place to keep coming. I mean, after us, I really hope that this still exists, both of or whatever businesses. I hope they still exist.
Yeah.
And it would be so great if they were just like an institution that has been there, but it just keeps its same, like we said before, like its same vibe, its same feel. I just find the history part of that is just worth it more to me than just to slap my name on something, because
Sure.
what does that mean to anybody?
You could do that thing where you put your name before the thing, where it's like Ruth's
Yes.
Chris Steakhouse. It could be Tala's Northside Pharmacy.
No, but there's a few pharmacies
Yeah.
that have done that recently,
Yeah.
and it's now called exactly that, like
Yeah.
Rick's something, and I'm just. But nobody calls it that. Nobody's
Sure.
going to call it that. They're going to call it the old name. So I'm like, what is the point? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah. Do you find that you have to sort of program the retail sides of the businesses differently? I mean, people in New Iberia are pretty different than people who live in North
Yes.
Lafayette. I mean, and do you have to kind of be mindful of that as you're doing inventory and thinking about what works?
Yes, because sometimes, even though what I like so far has worked well in the store, there's obviously some things that I like that are not going to work in that area. Like, our customer base is generally an older woman. She's buying gifts for grandchildren or nieces and nephews. So you kind of, I still have to buy for that market. I cannot buy for somebody who's in their 20s or even, like a lot of young moms. That's just not who's shopping in my store. So I do have to program that. The front of the store is also very, very different from the back of the store. And our OTC section, so our over-the-counter section, I don't buy big brand names for that stuff, because when people are coming into an independent, we can't offer the prices that, say, Walmart can. Like, Walmart can offer you 88-cent aspirin. There's no way for me to do that. So I try to buy low cost as possible, but not so boutique-y that it's not the River Ranch customer,
Sure.
right? Like, so she's not coming in to buy like a $300 encapsulated whatever estrogen or something.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of, what people are willing to buy in gifts, they're not always willing to buy in like home supplies or over-the-counter medicines.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have to kind of separate it. The inventory and all that kind of stuff is also managed differently. We try to have different price points, but again, I'm not Walmart. Like, I cannot offer you like a $2 whatever.
Yeah.
It's just not possible, really.
Yeah. Mia, have you found that you've had to sort of educate the consumer base here there have been cocktail, I wouldn't say bars downtown. There are like restaurants that say have a good bar, but they're not, to my knowledge, and just forgive me if I'm incorrect here, there hasn't really been a cocktail lounge in downtown Lafayette in quite the way that you've programmed it, which is a different kind of consumer, somebody who's not just like, I want to drink with dinner. Like, the experience is the social environment, it's the enjoyment of like specific types of cocktails. But that kind of program is a bit more expensive. It attracts a certain type of customer. Have you found that you've had to kind of bring people, or were people looking for it?
I feel that people were looking for it. I would not have been able to produce this program without the cocktail programs around me, like Central Pizza, Vestal, so on and so forth, because without that baseline, I don't think that the cocktail culture could have evolved downtown.
Yeah.
So I looked at places and really took my time for 3 years, because I didn't think that Lafayette was quite ready for a cocktail lounge. And still, it's going to be about 2 or 3 more years before, the same trends are catching up long term. But yeah, I think that I had to do a lot of cost analysis and price accordingly to the area. I don't have food offerings, so, I can't have a bowl of pasta that can offset a glass of wine. But what I do is, people understand that everything's handcrafted. My team comes in on a Monday. We make all of our juices. We recycle. We have agave straws. We have a very small carbon footprint. We only go through about 3 bags of trash a week. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of our glassware is upcycled. We recycle with Sapphire Glass, which is another small business, female-owned brand, and they turn the glass into mulch, which is really cool. So all of the little nuances of being socially aware are there. And so if that's something that people are interested in, I think the whole cocktail culture is going into drinking better for you. Mocktails are huge. CBD and cannabis is huge. And then just like understanding what you're putting in your body yeah, I can make a cocktail with McCormick's, but you're going to have the flush and feel like crap in the morning. You know, you're like, I'm never going there again.
Yeah, sure.
Now, if you have 3 cocktails with us, you're probably going to wake up feeling pretty good because we're using quality. You know, we don't have a well per se.
Yeah.
It's what fits in the drink.
Well, I love that both of you are able to sort of like the way you operate your businesses are ways that you can bring nuance to what you present and obviously nuance and value to your customers. Thanks again for joining me on Out to Lunch Acadiana.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
My guests on Out to Lunch Acadiana today have been Mia Stanford, owner of Le-Grenadier, and Talabui, co-owner of Swallows Pharmacy. We edited this conversation to fit into our time slot here on KRVS. You can hear our unedited conversation and find out more about Mia and Tala by listening to the Out to Lunch Acadiana podcast. And you can find and subscribe on your podcast app and on our website, itsacadiana.com. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from the show on itsacadiana.com or Out to Lunch Acadiana social media. These photos were taken by Astor Morgan. You can find more of Astor's photos at astormorgan.com. Out to Lunch Acadiana is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsacadiana.com and KRBS 88.7 FM. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Our associate producer is Chad Terrio. Our researcher is Leah Erdialis. And today's show was engineered by Dylan Avano. I'm Christian Mader, editor of The Current, Lafayette's nonprofit newsroom. And to get the scoop on Lafayette, head over to thecurrentla.com. Sign up for our free newsletter. We'll see you next time for more business and conversation on Out to Lunch Acadiana. See you next time.
Out to Lunch Acadiana was recorded live over lunch at Tsunami Sushi on Jefferson Street in downtown Lafayette. Tsunami is open Tuesday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, serving sushi, sashimi, salads, and authentic Japanese grilled dishes. Tsunami welcomes casual dining or reservations. More information at servingsushi.com. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by J.P. Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, J.P. Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com. And by Luba Workers' Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com. Mitchell Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. You can hear Mitchell's music anywhere great jazz is sold or streamed, and at mitchellforeman.com.